Hi everyone and welcome to the channel. I hope everyone's having a good day today. Well, today I'm going to take a departure. I got a little bit off track in talking about world events, and I think maybe it's kind of stunted my channel growth. I have expressed some of my views, and I'm sure they're not the views of, the channel. So I'm going to kind of take a departure from that and get back on track to why I originally started my YouTube channel. The first thing I really wanted to emphasize was about ways that you can protect yourself. And prepping for me is that avenue. And I'm really not so concerned right now. I mean, yes, I'm going to be concerned about everything going on around the world. Uh, I'm going to stay informed. But, the real danger really is right here in the good old US of A, as I'm sure it is in other countries. But all I can really speak from is my experience from my country, in my state, and in my hometown. So I made a video called Surviving a Stranger Abduction, and that was part of a series of 4-part series of Keeping Your Head on a Swivel. And I shared that story with you because it is really probably pretty much the primary reason that I prepare. I really wasn't that aware of politics for most of my life, wasn't concerned with it, wasn't that big a deal to me. I am a writer. I have a lot of different interests in politics, which is absolutely never one of my true interests or passions or anything. I always heard that that was like one of the things you weren't supposed to talk about at the dinner table. I think 3 things, but anyway. So I'm going to kind of let it go. There's a lot of other people that are way, way, way more well versed in that than me. So when I made that video, it was when I made the video about surviving a stranger abduction. I made it during the week, and that during that period of time, which would have been the anniversary date of the actual trial. And the trial was a week long. And, I can say from a survivor's point of view, a victim's point of view, is that anniversary dates are just that. We have anniversary dates for our birthdays. We have them for, anniversaries. We have them for special moments in our lives and times that were really tough. I mean, we never forget D-Day. We never forget, when America, when we won World War II. We never forget those times. And victims get a lot of heat. They take a lot of heat. I can't tell you how many people that I've run into that have told me, well, women never get over it. That's the problem with women. They just can't ever get over it. And, and I typically get that, mostly, I was going to say mostly from men. I have gotten it from men, but I get it from women just as badly. I can't tell you how many women, if I even talk about it, will go, well, you're just such a victim. I mean, victims get it. We just get it from both sides. We get put down, and we're just expected to get over it and it not be a part of our lives anymore. And it just doesn't work that way. No matter what type of crime that you've been through, it's always going to be a part of your life. And it's always going to be interwoven into pretty much the fabric of your existence. So today I really wanted to address carjacking. Carjacking is probably one of the fastest growing crimes here in the United States of America. We've all seen it play out when everything broke out last year. And I'm going to try and avoid mentioning, all of that terminology, because I think at this point in time, it's fair to say that we all know what's happened or what is happening. At least on an esoteric level, we know that things just aren't looking great. So today I found out, and I know I had shared with you that story, and, I found out that I have another parole hearing coming up a lot sooner than I thought. So I went and did the research on it, and okay, it's going to be probably in a little less than 2 years. However, the paperwork will start generating within about the next year. I would imagine probably the next year. I want to say like 1.5 years. But then it's going to start coming up for me. I can almost feel it start coming up for me. So in that aspect, I've survived it a little bit better just by coming out and being able to talk about that. I can actually feel myself begin to orbit, not totally, but orbit in that particular arena. But it's a good thing to be able to know that, because if you are a victim or if you become one, You really have to know your body. You really have to know, you really have to be so aware. You just have to be aware. You have to put down whatever it is that you're using to anesthetize or just basically medicate. You have to be able to like basically put the knife down, put the tools down that you are using to just distance yourself from that. So, because if you don't, they're going to destroy you one way or the other. They will. And I'm living proof that, I've been down a lot of those avenues, and they were really nearly the end of me. And it's really only by the grace of God and Jesus that I'm here today. So I noticed that video that I made has gotten only 7 views. And I get it. I'm new on YouTube, and I did kind of go off the reservation a little bit about my views about things, and maybe YouTube is surprising me for that. If they are, they have every right to. It's their company, and I can find my own platform if I need to. But I really hope to be of some help to any of you out there, especially women and people that are getting older. I want to warn you that the danger is real, and I was just kind of caught by surprise that that video didn't get any more views because, it really, I go into a lot of depth. However, I do leave out the part that would be inappropriate for children or, younger people. If you really want to know what being at the mercy of another person is, that video hopefully would illuminate that to you. And that's something that I don't want any of you to ever fall into. I don't want anybody here to be at the mercy of anyone, whether it be over your loose change, over your jewelry, over your billfold, over the keys to your car, over your clothing, over your bank card. I mean, it could even be a car part, or they want to know where you live, or you just don't want to put yourself in a situation where that can happen. Well, I wanted to see if I could find it for you. Okay, I'm really new at YouTube, so I'm not sure how to make a video where you can see the computer behind me and all that kind of stuff. So it seems like it's something I'm going to have to really spend some time on to get because I just don't understand it, but I'll figure it out eventually. So I wanted to read to you the reason that he was denied parole. Now, I've spent a good portion of my life keeping him, making it my mission to keep him behind bars because I don't want him out at this point in time. He's still young. We're both about the same. Well, he's older than me, but not a whole lot older than me. And I don't want him out to do this to you. I don't want him to do this to anybody at YouTube. I don't want him to do this to your neighbor, and I wouldn't want him to do this to your worst enemy because I'm still having to deal with it. And one of the things I want to emphasize is that just because I did get justice, and I am very grateful that I did, not just for me, but for you and for the world, is that I got just as many years as he did. That's just how it works. People say, oh, well, you should be so glad you got justice. You can put this behind you. You can have your life. You can do whatever you want. And on the surface, that all sounds really great. I'd love for that to be that way. I've tried for it to be that way. But in all reality, it just doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way. You could ask anybody who served in a war. You could ask a woman who had been abused by a spouse. You can ask someone who had, been abused as a child. Those issues are going to be there with you for the rest of your life. And they're your, I like to use the term kind of the hitch in your giddy up, but they're kind of your cross to bear. And how you choose to bear it is going to really determine the overall success of your life and your health and your welfare. So I wanted to read to you. I know my glasses are kind of crazy, but the writing is so small on this one article, but I want to read it to you. I want to read the basis that they kept him in prison, that they're keeping him, that they denied him parole. And I had never really read this until very recently. And I want to share it with you because it really puts it into perspective. Okay. The last parole decision was made back in 2018. And the denial reason was 2 uppercase D. Second degree nature of offense. Okay, the record indicates the instant offense has elements of brutality, violence, assaultive behavior, or conscious selection of victims' vulnerability, indicating a conscious disregard for the lives, safety, or property of others, such that the offender poses a continuing threat to public safety. So I'm going to read that one more time. The record indicates the instant offense has elements of brutality, violence, assaultive behavior, or conscious selective selection of victims' vulnerability. I'm sharing that because we as women, and then we have our senior citizens and people with illnesses and disabilities, we know, right? We know that a person's vulnerability is going to be the key attribute. It makes you stand out. It makes you stand out. There's not going to be anything that you can do about it on the outside. No matter if I'm carrying, what I'm carrying, if I'm carrying, or whether I'm not carrying. You know, I wasn't carrying when it happened. I can't really honestly say that if I was, I would have been confident enough to use any type of deadly force. Now, I would have been in the right if I had it. I could have used deadly force and had it be justifiable. In that situation, I could have. But that takes time, and that takes learning, and that takes experience, and that takes knowledge to get to that level, because you have to be able to rise above. If you're already in that vulnerable category, and I'm still in that category, in all reality, I'm very vulnerable. You know, women are naturally vulnerable. I know there's plenty of men that are too. As human beings, we're vulnerable. But if you really got something like, we're talking about young women, it doesn't matter actually the age. It could be any age. Young women, though, to a certain degree, are targeted more for different types of crimes. I do know that more than likely, like in terms of from what I understand, is for stranger abduction. That I understand that affects a different age group. I am going to have to look that up, but from what I recall, younger women are more likely than that because they're typically out later, and they go to bars and they want to have a good time. That's very normal. It's very natural. I mean, I didn't necessarily want to be out at bars, but I wanted to go out whenever I wanted to. You feel free when you're young. You feel indestructible. And so you're going to be more than likely placing yourself in harm's way, when you're younger and you're in college and you stay up all night long, and, you have that freedom. You've got that taste for freedom that you've never had before. So you're more than likely going to expose yourself to situations the same way that I did. I went to the store at a really late hour. So I'm not saying that I deserved it and that it makes it right, but it's just a reality. It's just a reality. And the scary thing about it is I was doing some research, and I just printed some stuff out, and I looked up statistics right now, or I just looked up kind of the overall crime of carjacking. And it says that the crime has become one of the top in the nation, as the number of carjacking incidences have been reported by the Department of Justice at about 49,000 per year. A high number of carjacking attempts, 92%, are committed when the person is alone in their car. Well, I was alone in my car when it happened. The areas where these attempts were made are often than not in parking lots of businesses and apartments, at intersections, when the person stops for a traffic signal, and at schools. The carjacker is similar to other crooks in the way that they look for their prey. They tend to choose dark areas where there are not a lot of people, and they look for someone who is an easy target. Okay, that would be, that would be women. That would be, that would be people who look like they can't fight back. That's going to be looking like people who, that also is going to apply to people who are listening to their music really loudly in the car and they're unaware of their surroundings and their cars are unlocked. And they look like they're not paying attention. And I see that all the time. That's people that are on their cell phone. That's people who are texting. That's looking like you don't know what's going on. And that's looking like you don't have a purpose. And that's looking like you're not looking around. And so you're not keeping your head on a swivel when you do that. So just from this little bit of information, we've kind of got a profile established of someone who could easily be carjacked. So, when you're alone and you're looking like you're not paying attention and you look like an easy target. I mean, a lot of these criminals like that are going to be, they're lazy, but they're motivated. And right now, they are very motivated. They want to take what you have because, it's running out. Things are running out. It's looking like we're just really running out. I know there's some jobs. I know there's not as many. I know that just being a general skilled laborer is not going to get you very far anymore. And, I get it that, there's other powers that be that are shaping our direction. So I honestly don't really know where we're going to go. I just don't even really want to speculate because I don't want my message of helping you to stay safe and be aware of the violence that is out there. I don't want it to get muddled by me straying off the reservation and, getting in trouble with YouTube right now. If I have to go to another platform, I guess they'll probably let me know. But so far, this is the only way I know to reach anybody out there. And I don't know if I'm really reaching anyone because I don't get any comments, and which is fine. And my views. My views haven't changed, and it just may be that I'm not reaching anybody. So I know I'm reaching a couple of people. I've got 2 subscribers. I'm really grateful for that. But if you do have family and you have a wife or you have a mom or you have young ones that are just learning to drive, this type of information is really important to stress. I really feel like this ought to be taught in school. If we ever have another new type of education system or anything like that, I think personal safety needs to be taught. But maybe that's a controversial subject as well. I don't know anymore. I can't really tell. Okay, so this article goes on to talk about what you can do to protect yourself. When alone in the car, the best way to protect yourself from becoming a victim of a carjacking is to be extremely aware of the area in which you are driving. Parking as close to the door as possible, whenever possible, is another way of deterring the would-be carjacker. When at all possible, ask a security guard. See, I should have done that at the grocery store. I should have taken up that person who offered to walk me out to my car. I should have taken him up on that. When at all possible, ask a security guard or a male store attendant to walk you to your car. Don't be ashamed to do that, by the way. Do not be ashamed to do that, even if it's another girl. But have someone go out there with you. Don't be worried about that. I have to remind myself that every now and then, that it's okay. And sometimes if someone just like off the cuff asks you, would you like help out with all of that? Just go ahead and say yes, you would. They're getting paid. Most of them want to get out of the store. They want to get out of the store and get outside. So I would just get in the habit of doing it. And then when they see you, automatically you do it enough, they're going to know, oh, that lady needs help. And, bring a little cash. You can tip somebody. That's what I do that every now and then. So that's just kind of I'm hiding behind this thing, but that's just something that you might keep in mind, especially the conditions of the parking lots that I've seen recently. I'm seeing people literally sleeping in their vehicles with their legs sticking out of the car and like cowboy boots, and really ragtag people, run down, not taking any pride in their appearance, stuff like that. Those are, honestly, those are really big red flags. Those are red flags when you see people that don't care about themselves and their vehicles, and things are broken down and real shoddy. I don't mean to be arrogant, but you got to look out for yourself. Those are big red flags, because if those people don't care about themselves, they don't care. They're not going to care anything about you. And you know what? They're sleeping with one eye open. This girl knows. Okay, this girl knows. Okay, so the carjacker preys on the solitary driver. So another deterrent would be to have someone accompany you on your shopping trip or wherever you need to go. Okay, that's a hard thing to do, is to ask for help. No one likes to feel like they can't do something on their own. I am hugely guilty of that. I hate asking people for help. I really do. I'm the last one to ask anybody to go to the dang store with me. It's hard to do that. It's hard to do that. And we're living in a time where it's difficult to do that because of all the mandates and restrictions, and people are afraid to be around one another. And I can understand that. I'm not saying anything about whether something exists or not. I'm just saying that it's even harder to do that right now. You can do curbside pickup. That's another thing that you can do if you're really worried about going to the store right now. If you're worried about getting out for any reason, you can do curbside pickup. But the only thing about that, and that's a good option, believe me, to me, it's just as good as having, food delivered to your home via Amazon or wherever you order your food. But you don't want to get so out of touch with society and so comfortable with not interacting and not using that intuition and not seeing people face to face every day. You don't want to lose that skill. You don't want to be so isolated that you can no longer really you lose your people skills. You don't want to lose your people skills. That is being able to interact. Listen to that. I don't know if y'all can hear that. Okay, that's the kind of stuff I'm living really close to. I'm right up against a road where people listen to that. They're very unreasonable. They're not aware of the rest of the world. Okay, so that aggression, I can tell that the way people are driving, that there's just an aggression. People are frustrated, and we're being bombarded with some of the most fatalistic stuff in the world right now. So that's for the preppers that know what they're talking about. And I really don't know anything about Russia and all that stuff. I don't know anything about all that. Everything I've learned from, a couple of channels. And I'm grateful for them. And so if I want to get tuned into that, I will. Okay, so another way of protecting yourself is to lock your car doors as soon as you are in your car. This will prevent someone from coming up behind the car and getting in while you are preparing to leave. If someone approaches your car when you are safely inside, blow the horn and start it and leave immediately. Wish I'd done that. Wish I'd blown the horn. And I just now thought of that after having read this article today. Wish I'd blown the horn. I can't do anything about it now but warn you to do that. And maybe that's why I'm doing this channel, is to help heal me the 2 years before this next hearing, so I don't do something stupid. Okay. So if someone approaches your car when you are safely inside, you blow that horn. You don't roll the window down, start talking to them, and start giving them any money out of your wallet. Don't do that. If you feel your life is in danger, do not let the car become more important. Let them take the car without a fight. It can always be replaced. And that's what I did, and I got another car. Okay? I let him, he drove off in my vehicle. I basically rolled out of the vehicle. I jumped out of it. He slowed it down, and I jumped out of it barefoot. And he was literally, holding onto my rings, my high school ring, trying to pull it off. I didn't care whether he had that car, because I knew that once I got out of that car, that I would, first of all, I knew I'd never get back in it again. I never wanted to see it, and I can still remember the way that car smelled. I don't know why, but I cannot kill that olfactory memory. But I did end up getting a different car. I refused to ever get back in that car because it was a crime scene in more ways than one. It was horrible. And he did injure me. So, anyway, let them take the car without a fight. It can always be replaced. If you are the victim of a carjacking, do not hesitate to inform the police. This is a felony, and the perpetrator can be jailed from 3 to 10 years. That's just for carjacking. There's all different types of mitigating factors, like whether it was aggravated and you were kidnapped and you were assaulted and you were robbed. All that happened to me, so he got a lot of years. The odds of finding your car intact might be quite good if you let the police know as soon as possible. Well, that's true. They did find my vehicle. They found it idling, abandoned and idling by kind of like in an area close to my apartment complex, because he ditched my car and he got back into his old beat up vehicle that he trapped me in at. And yet, oddly, still no one was around to have seen all of that. Okay, no one was around to have seen all that. Okay, so I'm going to do a little bit more info on this, a little bit more research on this, because there are more statistics that are out there, and I just wanted you to know that, some of the ways that you can kind of protect yourself. So, one of the biggest things you can do is basically scan the area really well. Don't go anywhere alone at night. At the gas station, it's always good to have a buddy system. But in my experience, when you go to fill up, if you can, when you're filling up your car, don't park behind someone that's filling up. If you can, wait and then pull up to that gas pump that's closest to the convenience store, so you don't get trapped behind somebody, because you always want to have your car pointed in the direction that you can escape any type of situation. But I know this is kind of a lengthy video, but this was more the direction that I really had for my channel, and I did get caught up a little bit in the kind of the panic about what is going on. But really, I think our biggest threats are really coming from over here. Everyone's in such kind of a chaotic place, I think. So, when it comes to you and your car, I hope that can really help. And I hope that I can help by letting you know that, yes, you can survive a violent attack. You can. But, gosh, it's going to be a tough road for you. It's going to be a tough road for you. And it's going to be a tough road for those that love you and those that want to be in a relationship with you, and for your family. And then again, it might be hard to find somebody in your family to really support you and see you all the way through it to the other side, and be positive and not blame you and put you through all those different type of emotions. So I'm going to try and stay focused on that more. I hope that this helps to some degree. I have quite a bit of knowledge about violent crime, surviving violent crime, working with offenders, understanding their mindset and where they're coming from. And if you have any questions or anything like that, please feel free to leave a comment. I'll be honest with you, I can't tell if my videos are really going anywhere. So if you feel like it, I'm definitely not demanding anything, but if someone could just shoot me a thumbs up, or just let me know if my videos are even getting out there, because I can't tell. To be honest with you, I can't tell. But anyway, God bless everyone, and just remember, if you've got loved ones that are vulnerable, just kind of remind them and let them know that if they need anything, you're free to help them. Just accompany them places. You stand a much better chance of not being a victim if you go out and do some of these just basic things by having another person with you. Okay, everyone. Well, God bless you all, and I love you all, and be careful. Just be careful out there. Okay. God bless you all, and bye-bye.